Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson. This is Ed McMahon along with Doc Severinsen and the NBC Orchestra inviting you to join Johnny and his guests, Jim Stafford, Dinah Manoff, and football star Lyle Alzado. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Johnny.
Look it. Thank you. That's very nice of you. And very perceptive, too. But it's all right to get excited. Don't tear down my applause sign. Did you see those Raiders fans? Tore everything down. This sounds like a nice rowdy crowd tonight. Well, let me point out that the person who laughs the least tonight will get a free Nell Carter swimsuit calendar. In a good mood. There's not a full moon. No, the moon's in its first quarter, I think. Something like that. Things did not start off well for me today. It happened again. Uh-oh. Little old lady came up to me before the show with a can of mace. And said, "Go ahead, make my day." I just do that so I can throw in my Clint Eastwood impression occasionally. I'm working on that. A lot of you are on vacation, and I point out that Burbank is a fascinating town. We joke about it. Well, come on now. This is a lot going on. Have you ever seen our most famous celebrity in Burbank? Famed world inventor, Dr. Leopold Fechner. Fechner's latest invention is time-released fur balls for cats. They'll keep Tabby gagging for about 12 hours straight. Our executive producer is off. I guess Fred is down in Palm Springs.
Right.
Playing golf in the Bob with Bob Hope and a lot of big celebrities. Mr. Cordova likes that. Filling in tonight, not filling in, is our producer, Mr. Peter LaSalle.
Yes.
Standing over here. Hiding behind the boom mic. Peter is a very shrewd showman. He's the man who told actress Lauren Toos, "You don't need Love Boat, you're a star." Maybe you haven't read about this yet. Let me point it out. Sometimes we work so fresh out of the news that it hasn't filtered down. Lauren Toos, the actress on Love Boat, I guess was fired. From what I read in the paper, she demanded more money. So Peter said, "Forget Love Boat." Now, she's now standing behind Tattoo in the unemployment rate. How many of you saw the game Sunday? I'm talking about the Raiders game. Hey. I don't think even Jesse Jackson could have rescued the Seahawks. Boy. That was a great game, man. And I'll tell you. And have we got a real Super Bowl this year?
Oh.
You're not kidding. Now we got a game. You see, L.A. has the Raiders, the Rams, and they're thinking of adding a second football team. To Los Angeles here. You want to make sure Jack Youngblood is not in the parking lot? I want to real quick tonight. Anyway, I understand that President Reagan was watching the Redskins defeat the San Francisco 49ers. No doubt about it, they're a fine football team. Washington's a fine football team. And immediately after the game, I understand Reagan called John Riggins and invited him to the White House to be a guest concrete barrier. Anyway, we have the defensive end of the Oakland Raiders with us tonight. Lyle Alzado is here. Have you seen Lyle at work?
Oh, yes.
He makes Mr. T look like a Cabbage Patch Kid. He was just having his dinner backstage, a 48 Buick. Lyle's going to be out here. Let's see what's happening politically. Campaign, I guess all of the candidates for the Democratic presidential. My mind sometimes gets ahead of what I want to say. I better slow down. Anyway, all of the guys running for president under the Democratic ticket are in New Hampshire. Did you see the results of the poll they took up there? On Florida Governor Reuben Askew? He's one of the candidates, you know. Poor Reuben. 10% of the voters were for him, 5% were against him, and 85% thought he was a sandwich. That does not bode well for his chances. Did you read that New Year's Eve was in the paper today? The Reagans, as you probably know, were spending New Year's at the home of Walter Annenberg in Palm Springs. And apparently a lady got past the security guards, busted into the party by telling Secret Service agents she was the wife of William Clark. Does that scare you a little bit? Secret Service sometimes are not too sharp. 3 guys dressed as the Three Stooges got in, saying they were aides to Charles Wick.
A wise guy.
That's Eastwood and the Three Stooges. I understand the lady not only got in, but she got $1 billion contract for making tea cozies for the MX missile. Washington. I knew that was going to get nothing. I said to myself this afternoon, that joke is going to get nothing, and I came out here. What?
And you were right.
I was right. Reagan's had a wild New Year's Eve party. At the stroke of midnight, they screened a Lawrence Welk polka video. Come on, no. Come on. Let's see. If you've been following the financial news at all, the Getty Oil Company has been involved in trying to sell off the Getty Oil Company. And apparently, Gordon Getty sold his shares in the Getty Oil Company for $4 billion. How would one begin to spend $4 billion? I think I know. $4 billion, that's $4,000 million. I mean, that man is rich. That's not counting the $2,000 a year he puts into an IRA account. Anyway, along with Mr. Alzado tonight, we have Mr. Jim Stafford is here, who's a very talented musician and songwriter. Very fine young actress Dinah Manoff is also here. And a few surprises. So thank you for coming, and we'll be back. Hello there. We are back. We have Lyle Alzado with us tonight. Jim Stafford, Dinah Manoff. Anything to report?
Things are rolling along nicely.
Rolling along. We have some odds and ends from the mailbag. We don't actually have a mailbag. It's a mailbox, but mailbag is a euphemism people use. Let me read you this letter. NBC Studios, Burbank, California. Dear sirs, we will be in Los Angeles for a convention of temple administrators in November. Is it possible to get 2 tickets for the Johnny Carson show for Friday night, November 12th? This came into the mail department today. What is the date on that letter?
October 1982.
It just showed up in the mailroom. For 82.
Yeah.
And we just got it. See, I
Boy,
guess
they missed the show. That was a great show that night, too.
apparently there's a waiting period for 12 years on this show. I don't understand. Do you believe something must have happened? It's from Lynn Stepak, yes, of Providence, Rhode Island, and it's one of those things. It must have fallen down behind a radiator or one of the executives here at NBC.
Yeah.
And a letter there. Anyway, my apologies. Obviously, the Stepeks have come and returned home, and they never heard from us.
Never? Sorry.
I'm sorry about that. Let's see. Interesting item here from a Mr. Frank Becky of Louisville, Kentucky. I'm enclosing a news item about the Danish Symphony Orchestra. It's one of those little items in the paper. Critics in Copenhagen said the Danish Radio Symphony Orchestra played in a state of general drunkenness Friday night. The Danish Symphony Orchestra. During International Festival in Jutland, the musicians reportedly had difficulty remaining in their chairs as they giggled, exchanged jokes, and tried to upset British conductor John Lytham Koenig. Well, that's the whole idea.
Disgraceful. It's terrible.
Have
Imagine musicians drinking. Our crowd wouldn't do
never
that.
behave like that. I did catch them one night all blowing the same trumpet at one time. That was unusual. And the night they tried to blow up the inflatable Count Basie. Should have known. I don't even know that I should show this. Rick Beckett from Huntsville, Alabama. He says, I know you just celebrated 25 years. You and Ed just celebrated 25 years together. Can you imagine if it went on for another 100 years? I found this picture in an old magazine, and it looks just like you as an old man. Have you seen this?
Holy. Whoa.
Man took that out of the...
Now, wait a minute.
Hold it.
I got the line.
Well, now, that is me. That, no, because that's kind
But
of...
I have the line for it. Show it again.
Yeah.
Go ahead, take a picture, Mike. He...
Yeah, sure.
It's a little resemblance there, isn't
Yeah,
it?
there is.
That's an elderly man, though. Anyway, our contract actually calls for us to do this show 100 years from now, right?
That's right.
If we pass away, they prop us up here, and Mel Blanc's grandson does voiceovers. All right, here's one of these little interesting puzzles. You like riddles and puzzles?
Yeah.
From a Pauline Powers of Tucker, Georgia. She starts off. You might like mind-boggling ideas. I have one for you. 3 men went to this motel and asked for rooms. He gave them the only room he had left and decided to charge them $30. Right? 3 men. $10 each. Later, the manager decided he charged too much and decided to refund $5. He told the bellboy to refund the 3 men $5. The bellboy decided there was no way to divide up $5 equally, so he kept $2 and refunded $3. So each man paid, what, $9 each rather than 10. 9 times 3 is 27. The bellboy kept 2, total 29. What happened to the extra $1?
Bellboys are like that.
There's something not...
Something's missing, yeah.
What I don't understand, why are 3 men checking into a motel? Listen,
That's the question.
that's the riddle. Pauline, we're going to check on that. What else here? Nice letter from, let's see, this is from Amy Noonan, junior student of Holy Names Academy. So I'm 16 years old, and we are doing a project that requires us to write to someone famous and ask them this question: what makes life meaningful for you? We've been asked to do this after beginning our study of Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning, and they receive credit. Do you ever get these kind of things?
Mm-hmm.
These are difficult
Right.
to answer. What makes life meaningful? Well,
Could you sum it up, kind of?
yeah. Well, you know, we live in this, fast-paced world nowadays, and I think people kind of lose touch with reality. You don't really take time and enjoy the lovely and beautiful things. And I think I take time every day for the simple pleasures of life. For example, I've always felt that you got to stop and smell the money. Nothing like the smell of dew on newly minted $100 bills. No.
It's simple and easy.
I'm going to keep that. I'm going to answer that, young lady.
Yeah.
Because you should.
Sure.
You should answer those.
Look at your jacket.
Look at my jacket.
It doesn't look good.
Look at that jacket. You see what that jacket is doing on the monitor?
Bleeding.
It's what they
Look at
call strobing, right? Bobby, are you having trouble with that jacket?
No.
Oh, I've worn this before.
Always looks that good.
You got another jacket there? All right, excuse me. I have to change clothes. There's no joke here. I'll just...
Excuse me.
Yeah, so apparently, technically what happens, apparently, when you get something that is striped or has small little checks, it has a strobing effect, and and the television tube cannot resolve the image into specific lines. Is that about correct, Bob?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Andy Rooney would say, why is it when I wear this jacket, it always flares? Why is that? I like this jacket. I don't like solid jackets. I want to wear this jacket, but they don't want me to. Why is that? Oh, man.
Three imitations. You'll be going into Bogart any minute.
Here's the American Family Sweepstakes.
Yes.
This was sent to us by a viewer, the Reverend Aaron Gottschalk, G-O-T-T-S-C-H-L. And here's what it says. Charles Manson, local resident, will be guaranteed a full $1 million. You remember Charles Manson, don't you?
I sure do, yes.
Is that the Charles Manson that is...
Of course not.
You don't think so?
We don't have his address. This is all done by computer.
Oh, well, it could then be addressed to Charlie Manson.
Possible. Scary.
All right. Now, here's something that is nice to know in our troubled times. This came from James Desert. As tax manager for Price Waterhouse, I read many ludicrous tax court cases and published IRS rulings. However, the enclosed summary of an article has severe tax implications for all Americans. This is an actual thing from the tax people. The IRS to continue collecting taxes after nuclear war. This is from their publication. Yeah. Although no detailed plans exist, an IRS directive says the agency plans to remain in business after a nuclear war to collect taxes that will produce the greatest revenue yield. The IRS order directs that essential functions will resume when directed or 30 days after termination of the immediate post-attack period of a nuclear exchange. Oh. And the IRS is ready to go into business 30 days after nuclear war. Isn't that nice?
Comforting, yes.
I think you just look for a radioactive H&R block man when a guy comes in. They'll get a lot more taxes, too, because nobody will have any dependents. I mean, it's bizarre. This is weird. Our government in action. All right, we're going to come back in a second. We have Lyle Alzado in just a moment. Here's some exciting news from Weight Watchers, the leader in weight loss for over 20 years. Why is that?
Because Weight Watchers knows that the hardest thing about losing weight is the waiting. We created Quick Start. It's a brand new Weight Watchers plan to safely help you lose weight quicker than before in the very first weeks with new, easier-than-ever menu plans. Why wait? Join Weight Watchers now and start on Quick Start. You won't get discouraged because we'll help you get results.
Okay, we're back. First of all, let's point out, I was guilty of a statement in the monologue that sportscasters are still doing after all this time. I refer to the Los Angeles Raiders as the Oakland Raiders. Old habits die very hard, but of course they are from Los Angeles, and we have really a consummate football player here tonight. He's defensive end from the LA Raiders, played in the NFL for 13 years, been all-pro for 5 of them. And I picked up, do you ever read Jim Murray in the Los Angeles Times? Jim Murray is a fine sports writer, and he has a great way with words. And as a way of introduction, I'm going to read you part of Jim Murray's column talking about Lyle Alzado. He said he's a face right out of cave drawings. You imagine John the Baptist looking like this, Joshua, the Old Testament prophets. He plays football with the berserk fury of a trapped water buffalo. His rage is vocal. He howls at injustice. He's not a defensive end. He's an archangel. He sees himself surrounded by evil, or worse, stupidity. And then he says, he quotes Lyle, he says, "My life is full of explosions. They are something to see. Flame shoots high in the air like a volcano over Hilo. Molten lava covers people for miles around. Lyle Alzado in fine, furious eruption is a wonder of nature, like Mount St. Helens. You have to be careful not to get any on you." And it goes on and on. It's a wonderful column talking about this man. They call him Darth Raider. We've got a little minute of a film clip that will show you, you sit at home with a wife and maybe sit out in the lawn and have a mint julep. We're going to show you about a minute of Lyle at work on a peaceful Sunday afternoon. There's Lyle, 77. Hello there. Hello there. Seems to be a difference of opinion there. Well, as we like to say on the Tonight Show, he'll be performing on January 22nd in Tampa, Florida at the Super Bowl. Would you welcome Lyle Alzado?
Johnny, you don't like Washington, do you? I don't want to have to rip your lips off.
Oh, whatever. I would give you the names and addresses of my children right now. If I was a spy, you could have me in a minute. Now, you're doing something you accuse the other team of doing, of psyching you up. You say when these other teams do it, or when, Washington starts to spout off, or the Seahawks, this does nothing but get you more angry. Now, aren't you doing the same thing to them? Won't that turn them around?
Well, it doesn't bother me,
yeah,
what I do to them.
Right.
It bothers me what they try and do to me. So
now, I may not be the greatest student of the game. I like football, and I think I know the game fairly well. But this last play, in which you removed the gentleman's helmet and struck him with it, doesn't seem to me to be in the book. I could be wrong. Isn't that an illegal play?
Well, at the time there was no rule saying that you couldn't use a helmet as a weapon. And I thought at the time that would, because of what he had done to me,
yeah,
I could use it as a weapon. So what happened was they made something called the Alzado rule, which disallows anybody from using a helmet as a weapon.
I see. So you may not remove the helmet and then strike another
No, you're not allowed to
with
beat
it.
anybody about the ears with it.
What did he do to you that provoked this this outburst on you?
so upset?
What got you so upset? Because I want to avoid it.
Well, he was holding me in...
Oh, mercy. That certainly is where the belt and the chops right there. I mean, he was holding you.
You have to understand that the nature of the game, you're supposed to play hard and with as much violence as possible.
Right.
But at the same time, you're not allowed to hold somebody and keep them away from making a tackle or something, and that's what he was doing to me. And besides that,
right,
he held me where he shouldn't have held me. I have a personal life that I enjoy, and I just, I don't want to...
No reason for him to put an end to it right there. I'm not even going to ask you what that rule is called. Unless you come up with a name. Anyway, we're going to take a commercial break here, but we're going to come back and we're going to find out a lot of things here. So stay where you are. That's a great column. Okay, we're back. We are talking with mild-mannered Lyle Alzado. Jim Murray also says in his column, he feels he is insecure, talking about you. There is a violence in him that he keeps capped only with difficulty. True? False?
Well, it's very true. I grew up in Brownsville, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Went to high school on...
That's a rough place to grow up.
Went to high school in Long Island, and I didn't have as much as some of the other kids had, so I felt that...
So you took it. Well, yes, excuse me.
When I had to. Are these your pencils?
Yes, they are. Here, take them off. Never use them. Never use them. Here, eat my desk. Go ahead. Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you. That wasn't fair. I asked you a question and then tried to do a joke.
No, I've just felt that at that time in my life I had to fight for what what little I did have, and
Right.
it was the pride that I have that I felt I had to do that. But it's off the field, it's disappeared a great deal. But
There was an
I
incident,
felt-
I'd heard before I read it in Murray's column, that you once, at the Westwood Theater, I think it was, somebody was being disruptive, if you're watching the picture, 4 Collegian boys, and you threw them all out of the theater.
well,
Now,
let me explain.
yeah, are you eating popcorn noisily or something? I seem to disturb you, and you talk.
Well, let me.
Okay.
This is what happened here. I had gone to the movies to relax, have a nice afternoon, and we were watching this movie, my girlfriend and I, and there was a great amount of noise to the right of me.
Right.
And everybody in the movie theater said, "Shush, please be quiet."
Right.
And these number of guys said, "Shut up," and on, and used language that I don't particularly like off the field.
Right.
And
That's a good, fine distinction there. Good one.
so this elderly couple turned, and I was at this point in time I was watching, turned to these men and said, "Would you please be quiet? We're trying to watch this movie." So these 4 guys got up and went to the older man and this older lady who was sitting on the outside of the aisle, and started harassing them, tried to push the older man, and the lady got very nervous. So I jumped up and moved over to where they were and said, "Why don't you just be quiet before I take your head off?" So
Did they understand
what they
that?
did was, well, they were a little cocky at the time, because the aisle was, the aisles are slanted, and they looked taller than I was at the time.
Oh.
So one guy threw a punch, and I ducked underneath it and dropped him right on the spot. And then his friends tried to go after the older couple, tried to push me out of the way, so I proceeded to beat them out of the aisle, out the front door and into the street in Westwood there. And I asked them after they were lying there not to come in the theater anymore, and they promised they wouldn't.
Yeah, well, that would do it. Yeah, that would do it for me, all right. Yeah, you betcha. You gave a little pep talk before this game. Now, that's not your usual
No.
role, is it?
Well, what had happened in Seattle, I have some friends that live up in the area there, and they had called me and told me that Seattle players were saying things that annoyed me.
Now, what kind of things would that
well,
be?
they said things like, "The old man Alzado's not going to pose any problem to me."
That you didn't like?
Wouldn't that annoy you?
Yes, yes.
I mean,
yes.
would you grab anybody if somebody did that to you? Would you want to?
A little old man, I might. So that got you angry.
Well, that got me angry. And then they said that Kurt Warner wasn't half the running back that Marcus Allen isn't half the running back that Kurt Warner is, and we have an offensive tackle, Henry Lawrence, and his nickname is Killer. And they said that Killer couldn't handle Jacob Green, and on and on and on. So I just thought that it was appropriate at the time to get up and explain to my teammates what was being said, and hopefully it would get them going, and it obviously did, because Marcus had a tremendous day.
Yeah. So did you. You were very active.
Well,
Are you healthy now? Did you come out of the game okay?
yeah, I've had an ankle problem and a knee problem this past year, but I feel pretty good.
You were pretty upset. You were with Denver for what, 8?
Almost 9 years.
Almost 9 years, and they cut you for something like an 8th round
What
draft
happened?
choice,
Yeah.
and you really took that very personally, didn't you?
Well, I feel I have a tremendous amount of loyalty. When I grew up in New York, I hung around with a group of guys that I felt very, very loyal to.
Right.
And I feel the same way with the team that I play. And in Denver, what happened was they told me something that wasn't the truth, and I felt my loyalty to them should be returned by them, their loyalty. So I walked out and ended up being traded to Cleveland, and what happened was after that, they felt that I was washed up because I had been hurt and couldn't run. So they sent me to the Raiders for an 8th round draft choice, and there I was once again felt I was they weren't being loyal to me as I was to them. So I felt I had to get off the canvas again and prove not only to myself but to everybody else that I could still do the job.
Yeah.
And when people tell me that I can't do something, that's when I'll do it better.
Okay. Would you know when you got to the point? Do you think ahead of the time when you won't play pro ball?
I've thought a great deal about it the last couple of years. I'll be 35 in the spring. And
No, for pro ball player, that's a long time.
physically, I probably can play until I'm 40, but I don't particularly think I'd like to do that. I want to feel as when I play.
I saw George Bland out there the other day in the booth,
in the locker room,
Yeah.
But he was, besides being a quarterback, he was a kicker.
That's right.
Yeah, so.
It lasts a little longer.
But I want to be sure that when I'm playing, that I can still do the things that I expect of myself.
You're right.
And not just hang on.
Speaking of kickers, I've heard some professional football players say, oh, kickers, they come on and, Steve Landisberg, the comedian, used to do a thing about, come on, me kick ball, get check,
Oh, Gary Apremian once said that after he kicked the winning field goal, he said, I kick a touchdown to make me very happy.
Kick a touchdown.
I kick a touchdown.
Well, I guess they earn their money because a lot of games, squeakers you've had this year,
sure.
Turned on the final field.
It's a position that you need a great deal of confidence because one shot could win a game or lose it for you.
Now, when you're away from football and outside of having little things happening in movie theaters and so forth, do you consider yourself quiet, easygoing? Are you a pussycat? Do
you want to dance?
No, I don't. Whatever you say. Whatever you want to dance, we'll dance. Are you sensitive? You're married. I met your wife.
My girlfriend.
Your girlfriend.
Yeah.
She seems very nice and quiet. And
yeah, I tell you, I have a lot of things inside of me that are difficult to explain because of where I've come from. But I am more relaxed now than I have been in a lot of years. I'm more at ease with myself, but I'm still insecure about a lot of things. I have a great deal of relationships with a lot of young people, a lot of young kids, some of the work that I do.
I know you do.
And, the relationships that I have with the kids that I work with are more important to me than any game that I'll ever play or any trophy I'll ever win.
That's nice to hear. That's very nice to hear. We'll take a break and come right back. Like to do this, stay where you are. My next guest is a very amusing and talented young man. Jim Stafford is here tonight. He's got a new single that's being introduced this week, and you might hear it on the radio. Well, where else would they hear it? On a wearing blender? Of course they would. Redundant. Would you welcome? Here's Jim Stafford with Little Bits and Pieces. Jim Stafford.
Ain't it strange how your conscience seems to disappear at night? But it's right there in the morning. When you open up your eyes, yeah, you're staring at the ceiling. And it whispers in your ear, why'd you have to hit the whiskey when the party ran out of beer? Then it hands your mind to pictures that give you the shiver and heebie-jeebies. Look out, here comes the night before in little bits and pieces. Did I try to kiss his wife? Yeah, you tried to kiss his wife. In the bathroom in the dark. In the bathroom in the dark. Did he turn on the light? Yeah, he turned on the light. Yeah, did he hit me kind of hard? Yeah, he hit you kind of hard. The more that you remember, the more your self-respect decreases. But you can't keep the night before from coming back in bits and pieces. Yeah! Yeah, you did some bad things. Being drunk ain't no excuse. You done showed your friends a good look at the stupid side of you. Yeah, you close your eyes and grit your teeth and try to squeeze it from your head. And sometimes it works and you shake it off, but you ain't out of this one yet. 'Cause every 30 minutes all day long your mind releases more pictures of the night before in little bits and pieces. Did I try to kill their cats? Yeah, you chased them down the hall. Was I laughing at their curtains? Yeah, you tore off the wall. Did I scream at everybody? Yeah, you called them dirty names. Well, it must have been the whiskey. Yeah, you ought to be ashamed. Yeah, the more that you remember, the more your self-respect decreases, and you can't keep the night before from coming back in bits and pieces. Did I set fire to their ferns? Just to smoke the lawn. Yeah, and I took off all my clothes. You said the room was getting warm. Well, did I put my clothes back on? You put on pantyhose instead. Well, at least I wasn't naked. No, you wore them on your head. Yeah, the more that you remember, respect decreases. You can't keep the night before from coming back. I need a drink.
Jim Stafford. Hello, James. Well, that's the new one, huh?
Yeah, boy, I'm feeling good. Everything's going good.
Yeah?
Yeah, professionally and personally. I got a new girlfriend.
You're kidding.
Yes, she lives out here.
Yeah?
And she's a veterinarian and a taxidermist.
Oh?
Yeah, and as she puts it, either way, you get the dog back. But I am happy the song is
I'm
going
sitting here
well.
playing straight for that, right?
Yeah.
Is that true?
I knew you knew it was coming, I could see.
Where do you
But
get those
the
jokes? You
song
come
is,
up with some kind of bizarre jokes.
Just, well, I don't know.
Just around the country?
Just, yeah, you just run across them, stumble across them. I'm
Yeah.
real pleased with the song, and I got to tell you that
Is
you're...
that based on a personal...
Well,
happening?
I must say that you're partly an inspiration for that song.
Oh?
Yeah, because of all the fun things that you said about Ed's morning afters.
Yes. Ed has had some. Well, we've all had them in
And
times.
I have a favorite that you said. I don't know if you guys remember this, but one time you said that Ed thought that he woke up with a body full of hickeys and discovered that he'd passed out over an empty carton of Cokes.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Did you, at one time in your career, imbibe a little too much?
Yeah, I do some drinking. My problem is, once I start, I keep drinking. So I have to remember something that my daddy told me. He told me two things. Number one,
what is that?
Never drink till the work is over.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, get the work over quick.
But your daddy was...
Yeah, well, but I'm not here. I'm not here to condone heavy drinking, though.
No, we shouldn't.
No, I don't recommend heavy drinking for anybody. Right. It works for me, but I don't recommend it.
That's right.
That's right. The truth of it is that I used to drink a lot of hard liquor. I drink a few beers every now and then. That's about it. But it's not a good habit. And you know, there are large people out there like Lyle, and it's important to know what you're saying to them. It's important to know that.
Especially in the movies.
Yes, in the movies.
In the movies.
In the movies. And so now well, now I don't even gargle Listerine.
Yes, people.
No, I heard it kills germs on contact, and I don't like the idea of something dying in my mouth. It doesn't feel natural to me.
Say goodnight, Gracie. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Believe in being the best I can be. I believe in counting every calorie. I believe in Crystal Light, 'cause I believe in me.
New Crystal Light drink mix is sweetened with 100% NutraSweet, so there's absolutely no saccharin and no saccharin aftertaste. All these natural flavors taste so terrific.
It's hard to believe there's only 4 calories a glass.
I believe in Crystal Light, 'cause I believe in me.
Dinah Manoff is here tonight. She's a very talented young actress. And her role of Libby in the stage and screen productions of I Ought to Be in Pictures won Dinah a Tony and got her typecast as a tough New York kid, although, in fact, she grew up out here in California in the Malibu colony. Currently, she co-stars in the television movie A Matter of Sex, which airs here on NBC on Monday, January the 16th at 9 p.m. Would you welcome, please, Dinah Manoff. Dinah? It's nice to meet you.
You too.
Yeah. Oh, you look a lot like your mom.
I do?
Quite a bit. Yeah, your mother's Lee Grant, of course.
Of course.
People haven't told you that before? That you have?
That my mother's Lee Grant?
Oh, no. You're always the last to know, I guess.
But I look like her sometimes when we're together. They tell us a lot.
Yeah, just by first impression. I guess I'm supposed to say congratulations, but somebody said you're not supposed to congratulate the bride when she's married. You
Especially
congratulate...
when she's wearing black.
No, you congratulate the groom, and I guess you wish the bride happiness and so forth, and don't say congratulations.
I'm not like a newlywed. I mean, I was married a year ago. It's just that I just told a month ago.
Now, that's what I don't understand. You were married for a year,
Yeah.
and yet you just told everybody you were married.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to make sure it worked out. Doesn't that make sense to you?
Oh, yeah. I'm learning all kinds of things lately. Now, what, was there a reason for it? Was there any reason for it? You don't mean to see if it'd work out, or did you?
That's really why.
You really did?
Honestly.
You mean you were that insecure about whether it would...
Absolutely. I mean, I think, the whole concept of everybody expecting you to be happy is frightening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what would have been the difference? Suppose you had announced you were married a year ago and it still didn't work out.
Then if we had the fight the next day and somebody called and said, congratulations, and I said, please, I don't want to hear it,
Yeah, so you waited the entire year.
Uh-huh.
You didn't tell anybody? Your mother,
Well, I told my
obviously.
mom a month ago.
Yeah?
And she said, great, and my
She didn't know you'd been married?
No, I didn't tell anybody.
Your husband knew it, obviously.
Yes. He knew.
How did your mother take it?
Well, she took it very well. My
Right.
stepfather went to bed for 4 days.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, my little girl's getting
yeah,
married and didn't tell
exactly.
me,
It's
sure.
much more of a reflection.
I wonder why that is, that fathers feel that way.
I don't know, but I just had my mother-in-law come out to meet my mom.
So the two mother-in-laws?
So like normal families do, because didn't have like a normal family. I always
Yeah.
had like an interesting best friend mother. And my
Yeah.
mother-in-law is like the fantasy mother who gets up and makes French toast in the morning. And
Really?
Yeah.
Like all mothers are supposed to do, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you get along well with your mother?
With my mother?
Yeah.
I got along great with my mother up until the time I was 14. And that was when she decided, she was driving on Pacific Coast Highway, and she heard something on the radio about how all liberal arts majors would never get jobs as anything but janitors or something like that. And she came home, and she had never, made me, like, be real disciplined or go to
Right.
school all that much or
Yeah.
anything. And she came home that day, and she said, from now on, your life is changing. Why? She said, from now on, you study, study, study. And we fought for the next 4 years.
Really? And did you study?
No. Why would we fight?
Oh, that's right. I thought of that. Yeah. So how did your mother-in-laws get along? They had never met, of
Well,
course.
it was great, except that I made the dreadful mistake of having them meet over sushi dinner. See, my mother-in-law is French. She doesn't speak a word of English. My husband's French.
That's right.
His name is Jean-Marc. Yours would be Jean Carson.
Jean Carson. Sounds nicer that way. I don't know why. You didn't speak French, though, when you...
Not when I first met him.
I understand you speak fluently now?
Pretty fluently.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, go ahead. So
Anyway,
spoke no English.
it was sushi dinner, and I figured because they don't have really sushi in France, especially she comes from a very small town. She had never even heard of sushi. So we sat down at the dinner, and everybody was very tense, wondering how it was going to work out. And my mother was saying, bonjour a lot, because that's basically all she knows. and Madeleine, my mother-in-law, was nodding a lot, saying, oui, oui. And the special that night was lobster sushi. And I thought, great. It was in Malibu.
Right.
Lobster sushi. So I
That means
ordered
raw lobster.
Yes, but who thought about it, It was lobster. And so I ordered the lobster sushi, and they brought it to the table, and Jean-Marc and I, my mother and Madeleine were there, and they put it down the table like to show us, the live lobster, and they cut its head off right in front of us. And no, this is true. And the head rolled off, and we all sat there like this. And Madeleine especially, because, she thought, what is this, America?
But the French have had the guillotine for years. That shouldn't have bothered them, right?
And the rest of the lobster, headless, walked off the table and fell on the floor. And, it was just awful. And so...
It's hard to eat your dinner when it's trying to walk into the kitchen. Did you enjoy it at all? I mean...
Well, I tried to, cover up. I mean, after everybody kind of calmed down, and I was saying, things in French I can't say. And I said to her, Madeleine, comment tu sens? And she looked at me like I was out of my mind. And I turned to Jean-Marc and I said, what did I say? He said, you just asked her, how does she smell?
Well, you're off to a great start in this marriage. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Hurry up, Rembrandt. Your future daughter-in-law will be here in 10 minutes.
Hey, strength, you got it.
You just broke the record for getting dirty.
Give me strength.
You got it. Extra Strength Shield. The deodorant soap with lather so thick, so rich, you'll feel fresher, cleaner than ever before.
Big night tonight. See you. Half an hour.
Oh, give me strength. You got it. Extra Strength Shield. The Give Me Strength deodorant soap.
Oh, life a drag. Oh, why don't you pick up the phone and call me sometime? Let's talk about a reason for living. Maybe two.
You know, you're really marvelous on this kind of a show. Would you come back and do this with me again?
Promise?
Absolutely.
All right.
Huh? How do you say promise in French?
Promis.
Promis, j'ai promis. Okay?
C'est combien pour la fille avec les hauts talons rouges?
Oui, of course.
You know what that means?
I don't know, but it's my third hotel, and that sounds good. Anyway, Monday, January the 16th, The Matter of Sex. Thanks for being here. James, thank you. Lyle, do it in Tampa Bay, all right? Thanks for being here. We'll see you tomorrow. Doc Roman and William F. Buckley Jr. Good night.
Next on Late Night with David Letterman, meet songwriter Otis Blackwell. Friday night from the creator of the original Saturday Night Live. It's The News Show.